Welcome to Ground Control. I went back and looked at my notes, and it has been since the middle of September of 2020 since I have flown the GFS Micro version 2, F-22 Micro version 2. And this is absolutely one of my funnest planes of all time to fly. And we'll take it out to the field, and I'll show you why. I'll see you at the field.
Okay, I've got the Glue and Fly Series F-22 Micro version 2 out here. Let's see if we can get it in the air. Launching. Little windy out. Wind's gonna pick up as soon as we get it in the air. This thing just has tons of power. I have to check my notes, but I think that it has a 2.1 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, so it can definitely push vertical. Into the wind, crosswind. These wing plate type jets, you've got to be careful about the wind getting on top of the wing and pushing it down. Check that out. Awesome. This is on a 3S. But with calmer wind, you can run this on a 2S. You don't have to change anything. It's a lot more docile. You can still do all the maneuvers with it on a 2S, just doesn't have nearly the power, you know? Very maneuverable. This is one of my favorite things to fly. Very light wing loading, even with the 550 milliamp 3S in it. How's that for vertical? Like a rocket. Okay, let's bring it in. Is that sweet or is that sweet? Now that is the kind of power I like. Sweet. GFS F-22 Micro V2. Another very inexpensive build with budget components, with unlimited vertical until your battery gives up. That was fun, even with a little bit of wind. So let's put another battery pack in it. See you in a minute. Launching. Into the wind, downwind, crosswind, nice tight axial rolls, got somebody coming through, we'll slow down and loiter till they're out of the area. Alright. That is sweet. Yeah, how about that for a little slow flight capability with a little bit of high alpha in it. Is that cool or is that cool? I love this park jet. Now you see why I love this park jet. Is that awesome or what? Woo! That came through a little faster than I intended. What do you guys think of my little park jet? Into the wind. Crosswind, downwind, pretty well behaved, even in some wind, I'd say, for its weight. Gotta have to check my notes again, but I think it's all up weight with the 3S Lipos, about 135, 140 grams, something like that. Just go straight up like a rocket. Okay, my timer's complaining. Let's bring it in for a landing. Sweet! Carrier landing. Okay. Alright, I always have a lot of fun with this little park jet. Plans are available. Links to the plans are in the show notes. Links to all the components are available in the show notes. I'll see you back at the HQ. I'll give you some more information. I want to make sure I'm correct on the weight, the amount of thrust, and the total cost of the build. And that'll give you an idea. But it was a very, very inexpensive build, and I have yet to find a factory plane that will fly as well as this one does for the amount of money that it took to build it. So I'll see you back at the HQ.
Okay, so was that fun or was that fun? Now you know why I say this is one of my favorite planes to fly of all time, because it's extremely maneuverable. It has light wing loading. It can handle some wind, and it has tons and tons of power, and it's just an absolute blast. But I was wrong on some of the information I gave you, because I had been flying this when I first put this in the air after I designed and built it. I had been flying it with a 3S 450 milliamp hour 450 milliamp hour 65C Lipo, and what I'm flying it with now is a G&B 3S 550 milliamp hour 80C Lipo. So it's quite a bit heavier than my little 450 was, and it's, you know, for most lipos that I've seen, it seems like the higher the C rate, everything else being even, the heavier it is. So that's what I'm flying with now. So it has increased the weight and cut down on the thrust to weight ratio a little bit. So I think with my 453Ss, it had a thrust to weight ratio of 2.1 to 1, which is awesome. Okay, so the all up weight on this now with the 553S is 152.3 grams. The amount of thrust that the power system produces is 280 grams at full throttle. The Lipo weighs 55 grams. That gives me a thrust to weight ratio of 1.83 to 1. So it's, you know, that's decreased the thrust to weight ratio quite a bit, increasing the weight. Now I have flown this with everything from a 3S 450 to a 3S 950. So it can handle a pretty large size and weight of lipos. I mean, as long as you can fit it in the fuselage, you're good to go. And even with the 950, I mean, the 950 really cuts down on the thrust to weight ratio, but it still has plenty of power to climb vertical and do all the maneuvers I was doing out there today. You just don't have unlimited vertical with a battery that size and that weight. Okay, the plug-and fly cost. Now I'm sure it's a little more expensive to build it now, because I don't know, I've probably had this airframe for 2-3 years. So when I first built it, my plug-and fly cost, that's with everything you see, less the receiver and the Lipo. Just like when you buy a factory plane, what they quote you as a plug-and fly cost includes everything except for the receiver and the Lipo. So my plug-and fly cost on this was $36.65. Show me, I challenge you, I throw down the gauntlet. Show me a factory plane, a plug-and fly factory plane that can fly like this with that amount of power for $36.65. I don't think you can. Okay, I counted, I went through just out of curiosity. I couldn't remember. It's been so long since I looked at the plans. I started adding up the number of pieces that make up the airframe, and I counted 11. And I thought that can't be right. There has to be, I'm missing something. There has to be 15 or 16 parts that make up this airframe. There can't just be 11 pieces that make up this airframe. And that's correct. I couldn't believe it. It's been so long since I looked at this information. There's 11 parts total that make up this airframe. It's probably one of the easiest builds you ever come across. Okay, so are you ready? Here's the 11 parts. Okay, I've got 2 KF2 airfoils. You guys help me keep track of this. That's 2. I have vertical stabilizers, 2 of them. That's 4. I have the 2 elevons. That's 6. I have the main wing plate. That's 7, right? I have the 2 landing skids. Where did I leave off? 7. The 2 landing skids, it's 9. The fuselage is 10. The fuselage hatch makes 11. There's 11 total parts to building this airframe. It's probably one of the easiest builds you will ever come across. Okay, so then I went through, I don't know if I've ever calculated the amount of flight time that I'm getting with these GMB 3S 550 milliamp ADC Lipos. So on the first flight, I had it in the air for 4 minutes and 53 seconds. When I landed, I put the battery on. My battery meter had 3.8 volts per cell. So you should be able to get, the way I fly, I don't know how you guys fly, but the way I fly, and you saw the video. So I'm cruising around probably 2/3 of the time, and I'm heavy in the throttle about 1/3 of the time. Okay, so 70-30, and I should be able to get 8 minutes of flight time out of this, leaving 3.5 volts per cell. I think that's pretty good, considering the maneuverability of the plane and the amount of power that it has on a 3S 550 milliamp Lipo. And with the thrust to weight ratio, even with this little heavier battery than what I had been flying in it, 1.83 to 1 thrust to weight ratio is still going to give you unlimited vertical until your battery starts falling off. So anyway, the plans for this are available. They're in the show notes. I will provide links to all the components that I used in this in the show notes if those specific components are still available. Like I said, it's been a while since I picked out all these components to build this park jet with. If they're not available, I will have alternates down there for you guys. If you guys want to build this, my guess is in today's dollars, you know, we're looking at 2 to 3 years since I bought these components. You may be looking at $45 for a plug and fly build of this aircraft. I haven't added up what the cost is now, selecting the same components or very similar components, but I wouldn't assume it would be more than 20% of that cost, of the original cost. If it is, it's, you know, that's, things have really increased in price, but still, looking at the plug and fly cost of this, I don't think it can go wrong. But thanks for watching, and I will see you. Oh, and I want to thank all you guys for using our affiliate links when you make your purchases. It helps us buy and test components, especially batteries, motors, speed controllers, and props. It takes a lot of testing to come up with the optimal power system for these airframes. So when you guys use our affiliate link, it's a huge help. You know, every little bit helps us to do projects like this. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.